Okay, so this is our commentary video since unfortunately we couldn't capture the audio properly for this. So I'm the DM who was running this, and Sunny's joining me for the
Yes.
commentary.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it should be good. It's a shame we didn't get the original audio because it
Yeah.
was quite a good session. But oh well.
Yeah. I mean, I could cancel out some of the stuff, but the echo was just
Mhm.
horrific. Just being picked up on
Yeah,
multiple mics, I could not.
I thought it might
With
be
my
to be
rudimentary
fair.
skill, I just couldn't get rid of it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fair enough. So where we started is basically what you're seeing in the background is these guys. This is just after you guys defeated the hags,
Hmm.
basically. Um, so this was quite funny because I knew that I was gonna put into action this haunting plan.
Yeah.
Um, so during the fight, I was kind of expecting if one of the hags escapes, this is what she's going to do to you. And I also knew. So okay, so let me back up a bit. So what's happening now is that Eirril and Asefa are long resting, but quite rightfully they're worried that they're going to get haunted in their dreams, which is an ability the hags have, and it's going to screw them over basically. So Xyril was tasked with watching over them, but as I thought would happen, Xyril wanders off.
Yeah.
Uh,
He just gets bored. Basically, he was just like,
yeah,
oh, then I'm just watching these two full-grown men sleeping, and that's really not his style. So he just,
which I mean, if someone asked you to watch someone sleep for 8 hours in real life, how many people
yeah,
would be able to do that?
no,
You know.
exactly.
So
And if you have Zaro's mentality, like easily lasts as
yeah,
long as he did.
basically zero chance. Yeah.
Mm.
So funnily enough, I did roll for this. I wasn't sure who to go for since only two of them were sleeping, so I decided to roll.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, Dan, who's Eirril, his character came up unlucky. He was haunted during the night, and therefore his maximum HP has dropped, and he didn't benefit from the long rest.
Dropped by 10, which is a
Yes,
fair
wow.
amount at
So
this level.
which
Yeah.
is near the maximum I think that I can drop people by. So I did roll for everything, but yeah. So this is something I'm quite interested to see how the party deal with because obviously it's quite difficult. The hag is haunting them from the ethereal plane, which they know,
Yeah.
but knowing and doing something about it are two different
Well, this is
things.
the thing. It's not like she comes to the material plane to do it.
Mm,
She can literally do it sort of by remote. So
yes.
that's, yeah. There's
Yeah.
no way of really fishing her out.
Hmm. Um. So yeah. So that happens, and then I think I don't remember exactly. But I know there was a lot of conversation going on here. I think you guys are basically talking about what do you want to do? How do you deal with the hags? Are you going to go to the dinner? It was that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, just reminding ourselves on how we're going to do this. Like, I think we kind of planned to go to Strahd
Hmm.
next, and I think it was ironing out that plan really, and how we're going to do it, and how we're going to figure out how to ask him to deal with this hag,
Mm,
ideally. Um, just yeah, I think that was kind of where we were going with this, and obviously reevaluating the effects of it because we didn't know what was going to happen,
mm,
and
hmm.
understand that this is going to be pretty bad if left unchecked, because it could just
Yes.
outright kill us. Given enough nights, it adds a time frame, an unfortunate time frame.
I'll say as like a little thing from me that I kind of expect at least one person to die from this haunting before it gets resolved,
Mm.
but we'll see. I'm not sure. Of course it depends how I roll us off. If
Thing,
I
thing is, it might not even be
roll,
directly; it could be indirectly because our max goes down so far that in a
yeah,
normal fight we've got less than half. We're starting with less than half.
yep, that's
And
true as
that's
well. Yeah,
just at this level, stuff's going to start hitting really hard, and that's suddenly going
mm,
to wipe us in one turn,
yeah,
which is also
for
another
sure. Yeah,
concern.
and I am structuring the encounters in such a way to give like that air of
Actually, I wonder
danger.
how does this work? So when you die, because obviously normally in D&D, if you deal enough damage to go minus your max, you
Hmm.
die. What happens if your max is debuffed?
I'll
Is it
consider your max like if you go below like your new max, kind of, if
new
that
max?
makes
So if
sense.
we if
Then
so basically if that hag gets us down to only 10 HP,
and you go to -10, then yeah, you'll die
wow,
instantly.
gee,
So
that's gonna be rough.
yeah.
That's gonna be
So
seriously rough. All right.
uh, but I mean, you've got. We'll see how you guys handle it. You've got a couple of options, which I won't say anything about. You can
Yeah.
try them yourself. Um,
Yeah.
I'll say, from my perspective, I can see a few ways you could kind of do it, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that was mainly the discussion here.
Yeah.
You've decided. I think Varyelle might have had. No, he didn't say goodbye to the children. Actually, you guys didn't go back upstairs.
No, we figured
So
they'd be all right. There's enough sort of food in here. I
yeah,
think we
there's.
burnt the kid pies.
Yes, good point. Yeah, you guys burnt the pies,
Yeah,
which effectively means you're not going to be able to see these pastries anymore
no.
in Barovia. Which we'll see what happens with
Well,
that.
this is the thing. Like, there are people that are addicted to this stuff and would almost kill to get
You
it.
guys
So
didn't think about that.
that's gonna be.
I was thinking about it when you burned them.
Yeah, but I don't think the public knows how they're made.
Well, I mean, who knows?
Because obviously, if they do know how they're made, then they're going to start killing children, and that's unfortunate. Whether Xyril cares is a different thing, but
Yeah, that's true.
I know we picked
story
up. I
doesn't.
know we got a chicken and cooked a chicken for breakfast, and we sort of used what was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, I actually another little side thing for me. I had a whole table of like what could have happened if you ate the pastries. It was like a whole structured
Oh,
thing.
I see.
Sadly, you'll never know.
I was tempted for Xyril to do it, but I thought, like, he's mad. He's got the madness, but I think that madness still has limits to like. Clearly, something that's. I mean, there's one thing to not take things seriously, but there's another to do something that's is gonna inflict damage on you.
Yeah, I mean, eating kids is quite demonic
Well, it's
evil.
not that, and it's not that. I think because he knows that people are, it changes people's mentality. Like it has an effect.
Okay.
It has like almost curses them. The
Yeah.
eating kids part, his madness takes care of, as but it's more the after effects.
Okay. I mean, it's something I'll probably reveal in the Q&A. I'll just say like what would have happened if someone had eaten them or whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, yep, I think we could skip ahead here. So basically you guys decided to go up to the dinner, which is also something I suggested. I thought it was a good idea for you to go to the dinner.
Yeah.
I didn't say it directly, but that was kind of my hint when I said go east and deal with everything there.
Yeah, and I think we also kind of figured that as we're on this side of Valaki, it kind of made sense because we didn't really want to, because we had a few more hints, based on stuff we found out from the hags and stuff. But I think that was all on the other side of Valaki, and we kind of didn't want to do that trek again.
Yeah.
For various reasons. So we figured, well, one, we can get Strahd to deal with this hag situation and potentially get the Argynvost's skull from his basement, which we found out from the hag as well, that where it was. And I know part of the plan was to get Spiny to go do recon, which I think we decided beforehand. So that was kind of the plan with that going to Strahd could essentially get all these extra, get hopefully and I think the hag situation probably expedited it further.
Yes, yeah. Dealing with the hags is intentionally something like because should I reveal? Yeah, I'll reveal this. So the hag haunting is not something that's like in the book. It's just something I thought I would add.
You're a horrible person.
Yeah, I'm quite evil. Yeah, because I deliberately wanted to put the party into a difficult situation where you have to make a choice between how are you going to deal with this. I mean, if you are higher level, it might be something you could deal with on your own. But obviously, at this level, you can't really. So
no, exactly. I mean, because there are obviously spells that let you phase into it and stuff, but like there's not. Yeah, there's not a lot we can do at level 7, 6, 7.
Yep. So many things could have happened, but yeah, it was a deliberate choice on my part that I wanted to put you guys in this difficult position.
Fantastic.
Did anything happen along the way? I know you saw the ghost, right, being crushed.
Ghost being crushed.
So basically, I think as you guys are traveling on the roads, you basically came across like a scene of sort of devastation. And
the Revenant, the Revenant's
yes.
babes. He went that we thought they were searching for us or something, and then we saw that they just got wiped out by something.
Yep.
We don't know what.
Yep.
That was past the gate, I believe.
Yeah, it was kind of like on your way. It was a bit before the gate, I think, like on your way up to the castle.
Yeah. But I think we decided to just ignore it and just carry on.
You guys kind of investigated a bit. I think what you surmised was something very powerful and very sort of magical. Just pretty much wiped them out.
Yeah.
They were waiting in ambush for you. I think someone confirmed as well.
Probably Varyelle, I'd imagine. Would have.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, we figured it's got something to do with Argynvost. The stuff in Argynvost hole anyway. For sure.
I think Asefa would have recognised them as the people when he opened the door and then shut it again. He would have recognised it. But other than that, I think you didn't have anything on your journey, right?
I don't believe so. I don't think we got any encounters.
Yeah, so okay, I'll confirm this now because it has no further bearing on the story, and also because you guys speculated that, but perhaps because you were on your way to the dinner.
Oh, I
That was
see.
why. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
confirm that actually. So yes, because you were on your way to the dinner, Strahd himself was kind of ensuring that you would have no difficulty. So he's the one who
Yeah, to sort
stopped
them out.
the
That makes
the
sense. I mean, that
yeah.
that we kind of figured that much.
Hmm.
Or that it must have been Strahd's doing because one, they're
Who
so
else?
close to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes more sense that because we're going to his dinner and part of the invite said we'd been unharmed, that he's dealt with that. Be
Yep.
curious that I wonder if it. Yeah, be interesting actually that if it's just there or in other places if we were further away and then decided.
It would have been the same, yeah. So if you, I was about to say, if you were further away, it would have been more obvious because you would have seen things like zombies kind of like standing aside to give you, like, just to let you pass, that
Mm,
sort of thing. But yeah, because you were so close, you didn't really
yeah.
have too much ground to cover anyway.
But it did obviously alert us to the fact that that stuff in Argynvostholt is on us.
Yes, yeah, which is something I've been doing a lot of in this campaign. I've been dropping a lot of hints.
Mm.
It's interesting because I think partly it's because maybe we have a breakers off, which kind of throws people's thought process off. But sometimes you guys pick up on stuff, and sometimes it sits in the background for a bit.
Yeah, I
But there's
think
lots of spinning cogs in the background.
yeah, I think we do suffer from that a lot just because this
Mm,
is a as and when campaign rather than a
yeah.
continuous one as such.
Hmm.
So it's a bit difficult to yeah to remember the finer points
Yeah.
sometimes.
Hmm.
But
But overall, you guys have been doing quite well. I mean, this session itself was I'd say, quite a big turning point for the group. You pretty much. Oh, that was the picture of
yeah, yeah,
the
I'll
Great
get to
Spirit.
that one.
That was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah. So this was a very good outcome. I know you lost two members, but I'd say overall for the group, this is quite a good outcome.
yeah.
Um, Interestingly, I'll just kind of give a little tidbit here as well. Like if three people in the party died, I would have toyed with the idea of calling that the end of the campaign.
I think it depends who it was, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh yeah, I kind of mentioned it a bit early. Oops.
Sorry,
So, oh, well.
we don't know who yet.
So this is just to give an idea of like the scale of the gates. There's a couple of gates around Barovia,
Mm.
but I think me describing it doesn't give you a good
No, this
image of
was
how it looks.
definitely
So,
yeah, this definitely painted a picture.
yeah,
Because this was
so
pretty cool.
mhm. Pretty impenetrable as well. Like if the gates were shut, obviously it would be quite a mission to get past them.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
I think I've got
okay.
one
So
of Ravenloft itself somewhere. There we go.
yes, cool. So this is the kind of slightly stylized, but pretty much gives you an idea of what the castle looks like.
Yeah.
You will see like a long walkway there. So this is actually something you guys had to cross. It was kind of
Oh yeah.
above a bottomless chasm.
Yeah, I remember that.
So,
We were all very, very wary. I think mostly because he was described as essentially rotting away and held together by rusted chains. So I think we basically just went over one by one.
mhm,
Eirril first, then Xyril, then Varyelle. Then we made sure Asefa was last because him
so
being
it's
heavy, if anyone's going to destroy the bridge, he is. And then at least three of us went across.
true. I'll say that I was rolling stuff in the background. You might come back this way, so I won't say much more.
All
But
right.
luckily, everyone was okay. But yes, very above a bottomless chasm.
Mm,
This bridge is.
fantastic. Let's go inside. Oh yeah, there's a few. There we go. Oop, there.
Cool. So this is basically you guys crossing the courtyards. It's quite large. I mean, everything about this castle is quite like large in
Mm.
scale. Perhaps I didn't stress this enough actually, because the castle room spans so many chapters in the book. It's hard to
Mm.
some get everything together. But I mean, essentially, there's like 7, 8 floors. This courtyard itself is like at least 50 foot across. It's like a big location.
It's got to be bigger than 50 foot, 500 maybe.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's I mean,
50 foot, yeah,
this
maybe.
is massive.
Because we can move 30 feet in a round. There's no way this is only 50.
Yeah, so yeah, possibly it's bigger. I can't remember all the distances.
Yeah.
So you guys, you went up to the castle, and it was the doors were open and everything.
Mm.
I won't say too much more about that, but yeah, I think we can just go in.
Yeah. go
into the castle.
in. There we go.
So you guys go past this initial room, which nothing too much of note. There were 4 stone dragons
Mm-hmm.
each of the corners. It's kind of like just a small foyer entrance way kind of thing. It looks small on the map, but these rooms are still like quite big. Obviously, the tokens are bigger because it just makes it easier for people to move around.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, and then we come into this room, which is another huge room with stone gargoyles all around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at this point, I don't think you guys have met this character before. You meet an elf.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever met him before.
Okay, so you guys met an elf character called Rahadin, and I mentioned as well in the session that he looks a bit like Casimir, like his skin tone. And Rahadin basically was there to kind of welcome you to the dinner and take you over to the room it was taking place in. And something interesting here was that when he walked close to people, you could hear like the screaming of the damned, essentially. Just
always
like
pleasant.
a horrible like cacophony, of just screams and wailing.
Yeah, it was very creepy. And I remember Xyril interrogating him on like his working environment and his pay and his benefits, and he wasn't having any of it.
No, he's quite a grim, humorless sort.
Yeah. Pretty much like Casimir, they share a lot in common.
Yeah, true. I do take a lot of liberties with the characters' personalities. Sometimes I haven't really thought about it until they appear for the first time.
Yeah.
So this was kind of similar with Rahadin. Like I kind of invented his personality on the spot, which was just a grim person. I think you guys, you were trying to banter with him a little bit. He just wasn't having any of it. He's very to the point.
Yeah.
Like go for the dinner.
And it was at this point I sent Spiny, which I believe was a spider. Yeah, because Xyril's decided to have Spiny default mostly as a spider, just because that's what he originally was summoned as and named after. And he was invisible and basically went after the skull.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me, actually, Xyril has entered a pact and tried to enter a pact with his imp.
What about that?
Familiar. Because he wanted to gain some extra power, so he formed a contract, and the contract from the imp's side said that Xyril had to kill the next person that asked for help, which Xyril shared with the pie, so he's not like Xyril hid it. So he was open that this is what had to happen with the rest of the group. Obviously, they were a bit, reacted as expected with it.
Yeah.
Being a bit
More
against,
spiral antics.
being very against it, and now they're choosing to be very careful with what Xyril hears at this point. But yes, it's something to bear in mind that
I should have. Yeah, it's good. Well remembered. That was a funny moment. Again, I just kind of came up with it on the spot because I was meant to research it during the week and I forgot.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty happy with the thing because it was mainly just to sow a bit of chaos. Like, I figured like an imp, he's just gonna want to screw with you a bit.
I mean, Imp is kind of quite demonic, so I think it was, and considering he's Xyril's as well, it kind of makes sense that he shares kind of Xyril's
like
demeanor a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of it was a perfect, it perfectly made sense, I think, in my mind.
A little fun fact again. So originally I was going to have you do something much more involved, but then when I thought about it a bit more, I figured. And I kind of consider Imp like a low-level demon. If it was something a bit more powerful, I think I would have made it more involved. Like you have to actually go do a bit more. But
Imp's basically just like almost like a puppy or something in terms of
exactly, So it wouldn't have been fair maybe to make you go and do loads of stuff. But, yeah.
Although the ability is quite handy. But it's something to bear in mind for the rest of this.
Yep,
but and he sends him down those spiral staircases, but while we basically follow this Rahadin.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can say it now that I know the layout a bit better, but basically those stairs you can see in the bottom right, he would have gone down there along a corridor, turned left, got into the big Hall of Bones, and we'll see it later anyway, so we'll talk more about it then. Yeah. But he would have been doing that while you were having the dinner.
Which I can probably go to.
Yeah, so this is kind of you guys try to talk to Rahadin. He's not interested.
I'm not having it. There we go. I'm into.
And you guys finally get to dinner. So this is probably the scene. It's a shame. The biggest shame we don't have the audio.
Yeah.
This is all just RP, basically Strahd talking. So again, I'll give a fun fact here. So the book gives you no details about the dinner. In the book, it's kind of like a bait, which I didn't like. So kind of what happens in the book is it's just an illusion of Strahd, and when you kind of start talking to him, he just vanishes.
Right.
And you're like kind of just left in the castle. So I thought that was a bit lame. So I've kind of expanded it into like a proper sequence where he's actually wanting to talk to you and stuff.
So remember when we came in here, all the seats were filled with various people. I can't remember. I can't remember the details of the people. And then Strahd was playing that organ on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Which I thought was an interesting touch of Strahd actually playing the organ. And then when we got in, Strahd told everyone else to leave, so it was just us.
Mm-hmm.
I know Xyril tried to sit at the head of the table, but Strahd sat there, so he sat on the other head of the table. Because
it was funny actually, because I'm not sure how he would have reacted if Xyril had somehow beat him to the head of the table. It could have actually ended quite badly for Xyril, because it would be quite presumptuous. I don't think he would have reacted well to that.
No, probably not.
So perhaps it was for the best.
It's Cyril's style, though. Yeah, he will. Yeah. He will do that.
And I think actually what might be interesting is to tell it mostly from your perspective, since I was effectively the host and you were the guys coming. But all I will say is that actually no, I won't say anything. So yeah, from your perspective, how about you relate how it went?
So I remember that. So we tried to talk to him about helping him, and he basically essentially mind controlled Varyelle, which kind of in a similar manner to how he did with Eirril back when Eirril had the tome, and he persuaded Eirril to give him the tome. A similar sort of thing happened here with Varyelle, where he basically was brown-nosing Strahd to a complete nth degree, and essentially revealed.
Arthur played it quite well. It was quite funny.
Yeah, essentially revealed everything, just every single one of our plans. About trying to take Argynvoth's skull, just absolutely everything. Which was, I'm surprised we didn't just get killed. He then decided to try and then he created an illusion for us all, which basically showed everybody the events that have transpired and the devastation left by Xyril and Eirril. And Jafar, to an extent.
Yeah, this was quite funny. So the reason this scene happened is because so basically everyone in this room, for different reasons, I guess, but it's particularly Varyelle and Asefa are here to stop Strahd. And I think they mentioned to him that, we want to stop you, kind of. And what Strahd was trying to show is that basically, how will things be any better with you guys? What's the justification for you trying to defeat me when this is what you've caused?
Yeah. They think they're on the side of justice, but they're traveling with people that are clearly not.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the point he was trying to make. And I mean, from my perspective, it was kind of, I'll kind of say, because it's kind of maybe like a little insight for you guys. So 2 reasons Strahd kind of did this is, one, to kind of see if he could, I'll admit, I kind of expected more people to turn more strongly against Xyril once brought face to face with what.
Which I think, I think it's harsh, because Eirril's been there the entire time, but for some reason Xyril takes all the flack, and I think
it's because Xyril's so what's the word? Doesn't regret it.
That's true. He's a lot more open with how he just doesn't care about it. Yeah, he's easily hated. I think.
But it's also because I don't want to give away too much. I won't say actually, but I'll just say there's a reason why there was a focus on Xyril.
Okay.
But I don't want to give too much away. And the other reason, which I can reveal, I guess, is this is both for me and for Strahd, is to kind of gauge the morality of the party, because depending on how kind of devout the other 2 were, it could have definitely led to infighting. But my impression from that now is the morality of the party is a bit more grey than I first thought, because they're obviously willing to work you know, get their hands a bit dirty, let's say.
Yeah, so yeah, because I remember the illusion showed our us running away from when Valaki was attacked,
Yep,
but then it also showed Strahd beheading the head priest at the church, which was a bit
that's
I thought
true.
was a bit weird.
Hmm.
Then it showed us stealing the wine from the winery,
Hmm.
but then also showed the winery being destroyed by some basically an ent.
Yes, this was sorry, I'll just jump in quickly and say I've kind of been dropping a couple of hints about the winery
Yeah.
for a bit. So this was a good opportunity for me to show what happened at the winery because I don't know if you remember, but when Asefa first met you guys, he kind of said, "Why did you destroy the winery?"
Mm.
Something along those lines. And obviously, you guys were like, "Oh, we didn't."
Yeah, exactly.
So this was kind of me just basically giving you the answers to like, okay, why do people think you destroyed the winery?
Yeah, because that was the thing. Because he was saying that, and it was like, what?
Mm.
But yeah, that was a really handy thing. It's still a bit weird. I mean, because we obviously know that they were kind of like twig blights and
Hmm.
things like that. So, and because it was overrun by druids, so it kind of makes sense. So they was
Hmm.
obviously doing something, and then after they finished what they were doing, they decided to trash the place, which a bit weird, but all right. And then they also showed our destroying the Vistani camp.
Yes, this was the biggest thing because I'll give you a little reveal here. I almost considered a much more severe punishment for the party after those events, but the way things panned out, it didn't really make sense anymore after a certain point because of everything that happened. So I kind of didn't do that plan in the end, but it was a close thing.
Yeah, and obviously Xyril tried to fight his case. Like the Valaki thing, like they didn't. I mean, running away is a normal response.
Yeah,
They're
that's true.
not gods. They're not there to protect the town. If the town is under attack, of course they're gonna leg it. So
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
not on them. The winery, they didn't destroy it. Yes, they stole some wine, and the killing of the kid was purely Jafar's fault, as far as Xyril is concerned.
I mean, you did blast him off the
But
castle.
that's as far as
Double
Xyril's
blast.
concerned, that's indirect. He wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Jafar. So
Yeah.
that's how he justified that. The Vistani camp was a little bit more difficult to justify. Um,
His words were the horses did it,
the
not
horses,
us.
yeah, basically, yeah. His mage hand technically destroyed the central tent and set it all on fire. And I was like, well, why would you have a fire inside a tent? That's just an accident waiting to happen anyway. And then the other thing was the horses technically destroyed the camp. I mean, if they trained their horses better, they wouldn't have just ran through everything. So that was his justification for all of that. Obviously,
So
not exactly the best justification.
yeah, it's certainly one way. There's our way to look at
Yeah.
things.
But yeah,
um,
I'm very surprised. I think the main reason Asefa and Varyelle didn't turn on us though is because they kind of knew a lot of it already. Because we did have those confrontations
that's a good point. Yeah, I
before.
think it
Like I think if we hadn't had those conversations beforehand,
might have been more impactful
yeah,
seeing
I
it.
think I think it would have been a lot worse. Um, but I think because they knew a lot of it, I
Mm,
think it softened the blow. And plus, Asefa, pointed out that as far as Xyril and Eirril, that we're just a means to an end. He's basically
yep.
using us as tools essentially
Mm,
to achieve his own means. Because
yep.
we're probably the only people, even Barovia, that's even willing to take down Strahd.
Mm,
So he's just taking the help where he can get them, and the fact that he's not paying us to do so,
hmm.
because obviously he could have hired mercenaries, but hiring mercenaries to kill Strahd would probably be stupid expensive.
I'm not sure who would take that.
Well,
That down. To
that's
be
the other
honest,
thing. So I think that's the other reason that he probably didn't do it, because if he had done, he'd suddenly be two people down.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and yeah, no, all good points. Yeah, I think the thing about it not being the first time they'd heard of it is definitely like a big swing factor.
Mm.
Because yeah, if it was the first time, who knows? Maybe it would have escalated.
Mm.
I thought at one point Varyelle, who as you rightly guessed, was under the influence of Strahd.
Yeah.
Thought Varyelle might, and he did kind of seem. I mean, yeah, who knows? We'll get back to that later because
Yeah, because it was weird, because I think at the beginning, I mean, at least from my perspective, I thought that maybe he was just, sucking up, like faking it.
Yeah,
Being charismatic, because Xyril probably, if he didn't have his madness, would probably end up doing the same thing.
yeah,
Um, but it was clear that he started taking it too far. You know,
Yeah.
started fighting Strahd's corner, probably more, just taking it too far. And I think that's when it suddenly started to hit. I think it was Eirril that picked it up first, just because he was being
Yeah,
under the same effects.
it happened to him before, yeah.
Yeah,
So it makes sense that he would, which was quite funny. He realized straight away. He's like, "Hang on, something's
yeah,
not right," which is yeah, fair enough.
yeah.
I did try to keep it secret.
No, I don't think he did. Yeah, I mean, Varyelle as well. Like, there's no way. Like, it's such a
Yeah, I
massive.
think part of it's because of who he is as well. It seems weird when he suddenly,
Yeah.
he's not the kind of person
If
to
it
do
was
that.
Xyril, that would have been probably a different situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the big thing was like Strahd basically asking Varyelle to be his heir, which I thought was
Yeah, so
pretty
yeah, I was
nuts.
about to mention that. So this is quite an interesting reveal, and it's something you guys didn't know before. And I wasn't sure before going into the dinner if he'd actually reveal this or not. But just the way the conversation went, I felt like, okay, it feels appropriate. So Strahd revealed that he's actually not against the idea of somebody taking over from him. So he said he's looking for an heir. Um, and I think you guys were kind of trying to sort of press him on what exactly he wanted from an heir, or the traits. But he deliberately didn't specify. He just said, I mean, from my perspective, Strahd's got a very clear idea in his head of what kind of person he would want or consider worthy. And whether you guys fit that or not, it's something that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Xyril
revealing it in
tried
itself is
to put him up
Zara's
himself for the
definitely
position, but
not
it didn't
worthy.
seem to work. Yeah.
Zara's definitely not worthy. But it's in itself is a big reveal that Strahd is not.
Yeah.
He's open to the idea, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy in itself. I do wonder if he'd turn his heir into a vampire then. But yeah,
Who knows?
who knows? Yeah.
I will say that it's like an option. Like it's not something that's like impossible to happen. It could very well be that at some point in the campaign someone is chosen, and then we would have an epilogue based around that if we decided to.
Yeah.
So
it's probably a good thing you picked Varyelle and not Xyril, because I think that would have probably ended the campaign right there, because Xyril would be all right, sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say something else here as well. Actually, something I was saying to Arthur is that when I play NPCs in D&D, I'm always like dropping their intelligence based on how smart I think they are. So let's take it like a very obvious extreme example. If you're fighting like a zombie, which is mindless, it might just throw itself against, say someone like Asefa, like over and over. But when I'm playing someone like Strahd, I'm effectively playing him to like how I would, like, I'm not really holding him back at all.
No, which makes sense.
So
really.
yeah, so there's a lot going on which you guys may not be aware of, but it's fun.
But I think that fits Strahd's persona. I think that he is just he only reveals what he needs to reveal. Like, he won't necessarily just blurt stuff out. He's very calm and calculated about what he does.
Yep.
Which I think makes sense for him, for sure.
And I don't want to give away too much of like what's going on, but all I'll say is that I've got like a whole thing of like what Strahd's after, and he's very charismatic and manipulative, and you can kind of see that with Varyelle, how he kind of fell under his charm or sway or whatever, however you want to say it. So yeah, you tread carefully.
No, exactly, for sure.
What you see is not what's going on. I'll say.
Yeah. But then, it was weird after that, because we obviously tried to enlist his help for the hags, and he was basically like, well, the hags are no issue to me. So basically that fell flat, which is a bit of a shame.
But it did kind of lead on to Strahd basically offering you guys a chance to kind of prove your worth to him or side with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he basically has basically hired us almost to do his dirty work.
Yeah.
And paying us. I mean, obviously Xyril was like, well, what are you going to give us? At which point he delivered things.
He did. He gave you many gifts. So the gifts he gave you were, he gave you lots of gold. He offered Asefa this beautifully crafted plate armor, which in game is plate armor, but it's got an additional armor class, like +1 on top.
Right.
And I was considering giving you guys a magical item here as well on top of that. But in the end, I decided against it because there's other ways for you to get items if you explore.
Yeah. I
So I
didn't. Well,
didn't want.
you got the braces of defense, didn't you? So for
Oh,
Varyelle.
yeah, sorry. So
So
yeah, this is something I added in actually, just to kind of sweeten the deal a bit. But yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I was considering giving you an offensive weapon, is what I
oh,
should
I
have
see.
said. Or there were some cursed items I was, but
Oh dear.
in the end, I decided against it because there's a lot of items actually hidden in Barovia.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, which is probably not immediately obvious.
Mm.
But it requires like a lot of like outside exploration. So I figured, okay, we'll keep those for the rewards as
Yeah.
they are,
And
sort
I
of
don't
thing.
really think it'd be Strahd Star to give us a cursed item.
Yeah, I
Straight
kind
off
of
the
agree.
bat anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know how you guys felt about getting the gifts. I don't know if that surprised you
I think it
or not.
surprised us because I thought he would be like, well, if you don't do it, I can just kill you, kind of
Mm,
situation. Like, do it or I'll,
mhm,
because that's a lot of, a lot of it. That's a trope, isn't it? More than anything, like a villain will tell you to
mm.
do something for him, and if you do it, he just won't
Get
kill
get
you.
murders.
You
Yeah.
know. But no, Strahd was like, yeah, here's your stuff, and unfortunately, as soon as he gave the stuff, Xyril was like, well, okay, right, all right then.
We're Strahd's men now.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't. Again, if it wasn't for the madness, that'd be a different situation. But unfortunately, the
Yeah,
madness kind of dictated a lot of that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, which
Just
I
good
think.
RP, I
But
guess.
he
So
did say that we could take anything. We were free to roam his place, and none
yes,
of
so
his. But it was weird the way he worded it. That him and his minions won't attack us, which leads us to believe that there's stuff in here that's not under his control, which is weird, considering you'd think with Strahd especially
mhm.
he would be in full control of his world, of his castle essentially. So the fact that there's stuff in here that he can't control is worrying, for sure. But it was
Mhm,
good that we got to take whatever he wanted. So obviously, when he
mhm,
told us that, the first thing was the skull and basically get that out of here.
mhm. So just to quickly backtrack a bit, the two tasks he gave you guys before he left you to explore the castle
Oh yeah.
basically were one was to bring the person that you guys know as Rictavio,
Yes.
and he revealed that's not his real name, and that I don't think he gave you much information. He just basically said that he had displeased him and he wanted him brought before him alive.
Yes.
So that was one task, and the other task he gave was that it wasn't really a task. It was more like he kind of just told you that some Vistani families were basically captured by werewolves and are currently being held in the woods, and
Yeah.
he would prefer that they not be eaten, basically. So,
Yeah.
but
But
yep,
he
sorry,
didn't
yeah,
say where. I don't think for that one.
he would have like told you, but like it's
Oh.
the kind of thing that, like if you wanted to go, I'll just say like it's here on the
Oh.
map.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, he would have told you like the location.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, sorry. So as you were saying, yeah, at the end he gave you a choice. He said you can either be escorted from the castle and you'll be safe, or you can explore. And yeah, as you said, yeah, he made. He said he himself and his guard, the personal guard that you saw
Mm.
at the start of the dinner, wouldn't impede you, but he couldn't speak for the other things.
Yeah, which was weird when he said that.
Yeah, I won't reveal too much more about that
No.
because going back to the castle is an option and it's something you guys might do.
Hmm.
So we'll leave it for then. I will say I was very curious what you guys would do. Obviously, leaving the castle is the safe option.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it was a difficult one because obviously, I mean, in a way, Xyril's madness helps me a lot because it's like, well, what's the most surface
mm,
response? Which is why once he got paid, he was like, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
The others were, I mean, and Varyelle was pretty much going to follow him at this point anyway for whatever, because while he was here, because he was still under his influence.
Mm,
Asefa and Eirril were a little bit more interesting because I think the idea was that I think at least for Asefa's sake, he's going along with it to kind of get close enough to Strahd to kill him
mm,
and to lower his defenses. So sort
yeah.
of playing the long
Mhm.
game with that. I'm not really sure. Can't remember what Eirril's deal was. I think he's just you don't want to be left. I think if he was left out, he'd be in a bit more of a worse situation.
Mm.
I think.
Yeah, not a good idea to go it solo. As Varyelle hopefully learned that night he spent outside of Kresk.
Hmm. Oh well, yeah, exactly. I think that was a lot of that. But then yeah, I remember I think after that just left us.
Yeah, so yeah, he kind of left you to it. So you guys, yeah, elected in the end to explore the castle, which I was personally happy about. I actually thought you'd end up exploring much more, but I think you guys are very focused on we need to go get the skull.
Yeah, Yeah, I think that was mostly for us from Asefa's point of view.
Yeah.
Because I think Xyril was very much for looting.
Yeah, it's I mean the whole castle is this is you should effectively think of it as like this big dungeon, I guess, with lots of different rooms and
Mm.
floors and all sorts of things in there. You guys barely scratched the surface in this
Oh yeah,
session.
I can very much. I mean, if
Uh
it's F7 8 floors, I can. Yeah.
yeah, it's very big. But I mean, it's your good fortune that you did interrogate the hag and she did tell you where
Mm.
the the skull was because obviously it gave you like a direct path there, and it ended up just coincidentally not being too far from this dinner room.
Yeah, it's quite handy actually, for sure.
Yeah, because if you had to explore the entire castle, it would have been very difficult.
Yeah, and again, if it based on what he was saying, like we would have been unimpeded a little bit, but there would have been clearly some
Mm,
resistance, which would have been not fun.
yeah,
And again, with Varyelle's, infliction of being of Strahd, but like it would have caused problems him fighting stuff within Strahd's building because
mm,
uh, he might think, well, you work for Strahd, therefore I can't damage you, kind of thing.
yeah. It would have been interesting. I was wondering if you guys ran into certain people, what would have happened,
Mm,
but luckily you never really did.
yeah. But then
Yeah.
yeah, I think we just I think at this point Spiny returned and
Yep.
basically told us the crypt path straight there, or at least, well, no, we already knew that the crypt path, but it was more about knowing that there was nothing in the way, basically.
Yes, which he confirmed, which is basically it's like a walk
Yeah.
there. So yeah, then Strahd left you to it. Him and his men left. Asifa put on the plate armor. You guys took the gold. Um, and yeah, we can skip ahead a bit to.
I think that might be.
Perhaps we took a break there. In fact,
Yeah, so
yes.
that might be the end of that. So, yeah, that was the end of that one. We
Yeah.
just basically ended that conversation with him.
But the dinner was interesting. I'm glad you guys had it
Mm.
because I had no idea how it was going to go. It could have gone any number of ways.
Yeah.
I was even prepared for like Xyril to take it, push Strahd too far and just end up dying.
I mean,
I
that's
gutted at the table.
yeah, that is a very real uh, danger with playing
Yes. I mean,
playing a character like Xyril that he and I still plan it. I still expect it to happen that he is going to piss somebody off to the
just get
point of
gutted.
dying.
I did half expect Xyril to die, not just because of people turning on, but also he would say something to Strahd and
Yeah.
he would just gut him
You never know.
because
Still might. Still might.
it's true. Yeah, you
We'll
never
see.
know.
Right, we'll end this record for this one here,
Yep.
and then we'll
We
come back with the other one.